Using a twin needle for sewing can create a really beautiful decorative effect, particularly when you're using two different colours of threads. As you can see with some of the stitches that I've stitched out here, you can't use all of the stitches with a twin needle, and the clever thing about the Butterick sewing machine is that it will let you know the stitches that you can and can't choose. I'll show you that in just a second. But you can see how you get this lovely kind of shadow, particularly with the satin stitches. I love it with the satin stitches. And you could imagine this around maybe the hemline of a little girl's dress, or on a pocket, or on a lapel. As you come down my sampler here, you'll see that the stitches at the bottom are really wide, and what I've done with these is to stitch over twice. So I've got a twin needle twice, which gives me 4 rows of stitches and then 6 rows of stitches, so you could just keep adding to these. So it's worth having a play with the stitches, different colours of threads, and see the different kinds of effects that you can create when you start to sew with a twin needle. But let's get going with it. The twin needle is included in your pack. And that's it. It's basically one shank with 2 needles coming off that one shank. So it goes into your sewing machine in exactly the same way as the needle that's already in there when you get this home. This little thing here is a screwdriver. So we're going to take out the needle that's already in there just by turning the screw that holds the needle towards you. Hold on to that so it doesn't drop inside the machine, and put it to one side. Your twin needle, just like with the needle that you've taken out there, has got a flat back to it, so that goes back up into the space where your needle came from. Hold it in place, finger tighten it, and then just one little twist with your screwdriver to hold it in place. I'll put the bobbin in the bottom, drawing that through the tension guide. There we go, and round to one side. And then we've got 2 threads that are going to go on the top. So one of my threads is going to go on the spool at the back of the machine here. And I'm going to thread the machine in the regular way, so following the guidelines, over the take-up lever, back down again. Press the foot down to engage the tension here, but this time you can't use the needle threader, so you need to thread these needles by hand. Okay, then the second thread, you've actually got a second spool holder included in the pack, and that goes in a little hole at the top. So your second thread goes on top of there, and then we're going to follow the same lines to thread this one. Back through the little guide on the top of the needle, and again we're going to thread that by hand. I'm going to use the satin stitch foot on the machine. That just drops on, and then just like with my regular sewing, I'm going to take the needle down and back up again to draw up the bobbin thread. Take that to the back, spool cap on, and then we just need to choose the stitch. Now it is important when you choose your stitches to press the little button with the picture of the twin needle on it, because not all of the stitches are suitable for twin needle sewing. For instance, with a buttonhole, there's no reason why you'd need a buttonhole with 2 sets of thread. But the important thing is, when you're sewing with a twin needle, it's wider obviously than your regular needle, so as the needle swings from side to side as you're using the decorative stitches, you don't want the needle to hit the side of the foot. That's where this button comes in. So when I press the twin needle button, it will now not allow me to choose even the buttonhole stitches, and it'll kind of cap the width of the stitch off so that it knows that the needle isn't going to hit the side of the foot. For instance, let me show you. If we switch the twin needle button off and I choose a zigzag stitch, which is number 7, and then I'm going to increase the width as wide as this will go. This is with a single needle, remember, and it'll go up to 6. If I press the twin needle button now, it jumps back down to 5, and it won't let me increase the width anymore. So the machine's kind of safeguarding itself, if you like, about needle breakage. I love to use the satin stitches though, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to choose stitch number 27. Right, we'll have the fabric under the machine, and let me show you what we can do. So if I just stop here and show you what this looks like, I think it's so pretty. It's almost like waves. You can imagine this in blues and greens, and maybe embroidered a little sailing boat on the top. It works equally as well with some of the regular decorative stitches as well. So let's show you a 63, one of the decoratives. There we go. What I have done, as you've seen earlier, is to sew out a sampler, so I get an idea of what the stitches are going to look like and if I think they're going to work. Some work an awful lot better than others, so I think that's just such a good idea. So stitch them out first of all, maybe on a scrap piece of fabric, and just get an idea of what the stitches are going to look like before you actually commit to putting those onto something like a garment. Just snip my threads off here. Whoops. And there you go. So a completely different look. Again, it's almost like optical illusion, like that drop shadow. And then from the back, because you've only got one thread at the back, that thread kind of jumps between the two rows of stitches. So have fun with this, have a play with it first of all, and I think you're going to be decorating everything from children's dresses all the way through to pillowcases and bed linen. You enjoy.